Storytime with Jo3.b.1 coming at you. Tune in. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jo3.b.1, and we're gonna have a little bit of a story time today, because a lot of people here probably don't really know me all that well and don't really know my full story. I know I call myself the Rap and Black Series collector, hip hop Jedi, but a lot of you guys might not know why. So we're gonna get into that a little bit. Maybe talk a little bit about my history, and how coming into collecting has made a big difference in my life. So tune in. This one's going to be fun, guys. We're going to talk for a little bit, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. So a lot of my earliest memories come from when my parents were administrating and running this homeless shelter. We housed about 120 men, women, kids, families, that kind of thing. And it was all ran off of donations from outside sources. So people would donate money, clothes, food, that sort of thing. And my dad would wake up, make all the meals, do 3 or 4 services a week. And they did like career training and stuff and counseling to kind of get people back on their feet, right? So that's kind of where my earliest memories began. I do have some previous memories before that, but, really formative memories start there. And, we're talking early 90s. And it was through that experience I made like an incredibly diverse group of friends and what I would consider family, man, from all sorts of backgrounds. But what you also got to see firsthand is there was a clear line. There's a lot of people of color, and those are the ones that ended up being my friends. They went to school with me. People at the school would make fun of the kids because they knew they were coming from the homeless shelter. And, your boy Jo3.b.1 don't really put up with bullies like that. So I would always kind of step in, not to try and sound like a hero because I'm putting myself at risk. But, for real, I was a big dude, you know what I mean? I was always kind of a big guy, I leveled out in high school, but I've always been kind of a bigger guy. So, but I would always stand up for these kids when people would pick on them and stuff. And these were my friends, these were my family. And we would have all sorts of fun back at the homeless shelter. Like when the adults were doing adult things, we get together, man. We'd be jamming music, hanging out, chilling and stuff like that. And that's kind of the early days of the hip hop Jedi. Okay, that's when I started, really developing. 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. I'm developing my passion and love for hip hop. And that's where that starts. And I've been a Star Wars fan this whole time. I was raised on Star Wars. So get to about 13, 14 years old, some other stuff happened. The city that the homeless shelter was in really didn't like the idea of there being a homeless shelter there. They illegally cut off the power. Like, we were living there for several months without electricity. It was crazy, man. It was crazy. And that's whenever we moved. Shortly after that, we moved. And, by the time I was about 14, leading into 15, is when I really started dabbling with producing my own music, okay? And not to say it was great, but we had CDs going throughout the local high school. So, you know what I mean? We were trying to do our thing. And we're still talking about late 90s, early 2000s. So we produced, I think like 3 or 4 projects, by the time we finished doing, the ASO trade thing. Gosh, I was probably 16. And, and that's when the music thing really started developing. I started writing more, making connections more, connected with Twisted. Me and him and my brother started making music together for a long time as Soldiers on the Rise. We did a lot of like little shows and stuff and touring around a little bit. And then I got hooked up through him with Arsonist Productions, which led to another wave of doing a bunch of other shows, and then me kind of breaking off, not solo, but me and my brother. But I also had a music studio and all this other stuff. So it's kind of like like a solo artist and a producer, and then me and my brother had a little unnamed rap group in a way. And so we would drop music, and I would drop solo projects, and we would go do shows. And it got to the point, man, where I was going on like before some legendary people, hanging out and rubbing shoulders with some people that some of them are household names, you know what I mean? Some locally, but some nationally, you know, and it's kind of a cool chapter of my life, you know, but throughout it all, I was also kind of spiraling down a crazy path of addiction and living that wild life. Bro, there's so many stories in there that I feel like that deserves its own story time. But that's kind of what led towards this, you know, like I said, I've always been a fan of Star Wars, and that Jedi idealism really had a huge impact and molding my thinking over the years. Okay. Now, there was a time where I did take like a bit of a hiatus from music. You know, I was dealing with some stuff, some family stuff, trying to help take care of my mom and get myself on my feet from some stuff that had me reeling, some other life stuff. Again, story for another time. But right around 2019, you know, I met somebody, you know, we started seeing each other, and, you know, she kind of encouraged me accidentally to kind of start working on healing my inner child, because that was something that, you know, I've been trying to be an adult for most of my life at that point, you know what I mean? And so I'm like, okay, and that led me to kind of picking up my first few figures in around 2019, and that leads to this Black Series collection that you see now, you know. So you know, Black Series was a line that caught me immediately, and in 2019, and I had no idea what it's doing, and you know, for a good year and a half, 2 years, and then started following some more channels like Out of the Basement, and Super Sorrel was huge, and there's a bunch of other ones, Mike Case, and guys like that seeing their videos really kind of helped put knowledge in my head and really helped inform my collecting going forward, you know, which I'll be completely grateful for forever. But it also led to this collecting and stuff led me to being like, you know what? I am going to be a rapping Jedi from this point on. And that was around 2019, late 2019, early 2020. And that's when the Jo3.b.1 thing really kicked off. All right. And editing Jo3.b.1 here, I did want to make sure that I put this in here, that the first time anybody called me Jo3.b.1 was my senior year of high school. I went to this little Christian school for a little bit, for only a couple of months, but there was this guy there, little kid at the time. To me, he was young, like still very much younger than me, but his name was Brock. And I wore this tan hoodie one day with an oversized hood on it. And he said, "Man, you look like Jo3.b.1 Kenobi." And I was like, "All right, Qui Brock Jin." And then we called each other that for last time I saw that guy, which was years and years ago. He still called me Jo3.b.1, and I called him Qui Brock Jin. So there's that, all right? And yeah, he's probably about 10 years younger than me, you know what I mean? So he was about 8 whenever I met him. But anyways, back to the video. I know it's kind of strange for some people, right? And there was people that are suspicious of me. Oh, this dude's only using collecting to try and like blow up his rap music and, you know, whatever. And then, you know, other people that are clowning on me for even doing either one, for rapping, for collecting. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of a strange position to be in, because people on the outside, I'm sure, are looking in going like, well, what is this guy? Who is this guy? So I just wanted to kind of record this short introduction to just share with you guys in the hopes that it would help me reach out to some of these content creators that I've been watching for all these years, because I'm an entertainer, okay? And I've been doing it for a long time. And so I can't help but want to be in this same space and to talk about this stuff that I'm excited about. And my music fam kind of think I'm a little bit crazy for doing this Jedi rap thing, you know, and I'd love to have them on, you know, and talk to them on my streams and stuff, but I would just really love to connect with some of these other creators, man. So if any of you guys know anybody, or you're in those creators fandoms, you know, some of the guys I mentioned and stuff, drop them a line and tell them, hey man, it'd be cool to see Jo3.b.1 on here, because I'll bring a different element than anybody else that's been on their show. I can guarantee you that. And but anyways, y'all, I just wanted to share this quick story time and tell y'all a little bit about me. We'll get into more detail with this stuff. You know, I'll write out a full, like, make a real good video on this at some point. See, I don't get the full Jo3.b.1 autobiography, I guess. But I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, guys. I really appreciate y'all for all your support, showing love in the comments and all that stuff. And yeah, much love. May the force be with you. We'll see you guys in the next one.